Welcome to Spiritual Happy Hour.
Woo! I love Spiritual Happy Hour.
Can you tell how much fun we have doing it? You haven't even met the guys behind the scene. They are having fun too. And we hope that you're having fun too, because that's why we do this. And we also try to include a little spiritual message in it to get you through your week. And we've got a message with Adironda at the end and a beautiful 10 minutes with the master Randy Luna, who is going to play some channeled music. But right now, we are here to do Spiritual Happy Hour.
Yes, we are, and we love it. So when I say the words, Joy, random acts, what comes to mind first?
Axe throwing.
What?
Yeah.
Axe throwing?
Oh, are you, wait. Enunciate your
Random
words.
acts.
Is this a Midwestern thing?
Random acts.
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 Versus acts.
A-C-T-S.
Oh, okay. Random acts versus throwing axes.
Not axis.
Oh.
So is it? I don't
You
think
know, words are important.
they are very important.
Okay, so when you say random ACTS,
Yes.
what comes to mind? Just doing something nice for someone without having to get appreciated for it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, random acts, not the axe that you chop with, but the act that you act out.
And how do you say Sunday?
Sunday. And TV.
It's a Midwestern
She makes
thing.
fun of me
Y'all
all the
wouldn't
time.
understand.
We're going to talk at the same time. You know, we should talk at the same time because she makes fun of me all the time because she says, I have an accent. I don't have an accent. She has an accent because Random Acts was actually started in 1982. Did you know that?
I did not.
Would you like to learn about
I would
that?
like to learn about random acts, not the kind you throw with a handle, but the kind that you do.
That's right. You know, I was at dinner having friends the other day, and we were having this conversation because I knew that I wanted to talk about random acts, not the kind with the handle, but random acts. And my friend told this amazing story. You know, she works in a really stressful environment. She works for a healthcare center that provides discounts to its patients. So you can imagine how busy they are. Now, on this particular day, she was short-staffed. She was the one at the front desk that greeted everybody when they came in, and people were just a little bit cranky. I don't know why. Maybe it was the full moon, maybe not. Maybe it was just a cranky kind of day. But anyway, people were standing in line, and my friend, who is so gentle. I mean, even the sound of her voice is so soothing to listen to. I have to hand it to her. She kept her cool and helped each person. She's kind, she's loving, she's attentive, and wonderful to each patient, even though they really weren't the same to her. I mean, bless her heart. Well, at the end of this long line at one point during the day, there was a woman who had been watching my friend closely. Even after she was finished standing in line and registered and was waiting for the doctor to see her, she still was watching my friend. This woman watched how my friend actually handled each person as though they were the only person in the room. And despite all the hems and haws and throat clearing from other people, she still focused her attention directly on the person that she was helping. Well, when this woman finished seeing the doctor, she got in line again. I mean, how weird is that? But she got in line again, and she came up and talked to my friend after standing in line again. And she asked my friend if it was all right if she gave her something. Of course, my friend was still in a bit of a hurry, but she stopped what she was doing and said in her compassionate way, "Of course." Now, I might have been thinking, oh dear, what now? Or, oh, she's going to give me a pamphlet on how to organize my office better or something like that. But that feeling was never something that came through to be communicated through my friend. Anyway, this woman handed her a ring. I don't know if it was silver or not, or real silver, but this ring had two hands reaching around it like it was holding the band, just like this. And the woman said, "This is just to remind you that you are doing a wonderful job. And no matter what trouble feels like or what the stress feels like, God is always holding you." Well, needless to say, that changed the energy in the entire room, or at least whoever was in earshot. That one little act of kindness reinforced my friend, letting her know that she was in the right place and it was always the right time. I believe she still wears that ring. It reminded me just about that phrase, from the 80s, practice random acts of kindness and senseless beauty. I mean, that really kind of changed the world. Do y'all remember that was going on in the 80s and 90s? I'm not sure where it started, so I Googled it. Ann Herbert, who in 1982 coined the phrase random acts of kindness and senseless beauty. She actually wrote it on a placemat in a restaurant where her and her friends were eating lunch. And then by 1993, she had written a book by the same name. Her expression was actually an attempt to shift or counteract another phrase, which was random acts of violence, which was very prevalent in the 80s, and senseless acts of cruelty. That placemat started a kind of revolution. A friend of mine, who I knew while I lived in Springfield, actually said in the late 70s or 80s, when she lived in Texas, that she would drive through the toll booth every day on her way to work, or several toll booths, actually. That was still a time when there were people working in a toll booth, and it wasn't just a camera taking your picture and sending you a bill or something. And each time that she would go through, she would give the attendant additional money to pay for the person behind her, and she'd give them a little card that said, "Guerrilla kindness. Practicing random acts of kindness can change the world. Please pass it on." I mean, isn't that cool? That just got me to thinking about how our own random acts can truly affect others. Well, for years, when I drove through Oklahoma, where there's a bunch of toll booths, I paid for the person behind me. Now, they never waved or nodded to me or thanked me as they drove on by, and that always surprised me. And then I had to ask myself, well, why was I doing this? Was it for recognition? No. It was just fun to share an anonymous gift. I still do things like that sometimes. I had a friend, or when he was out of town, I would water his plants and take care of his mail and things. And I used to love hiding money in his house. I mean, he was starting a new business and money was tight. And I was selling advertising at the time and making more money than he was. So I thought, well, I'll share it. And that would be $1 or $2 or maybe $5. And it was so fun putting the money underneath his silverware drawer or in his silverware drawer or putting it in that coffee cup in the back of the cupboard. That way he could find it some other time. I mean, people are just so appreciative when you're just nice to them. I was recently out of town for a funeral, and then my brother had emergency surgery. I drove 9 hours to Texas, 9 hours back. So when I arrived home, I was a little tired. I was so surprised. When I got back home, I had a meal in my refrigerator. Right, ready to heat up, complete with lasagna and a salad. It was great. A friend of mine brought it over and left it there for me because she knew that I would be tired. It was amazing. Maya Angelou said that it takes courage to be kind. Now, I don't know if my friend felt courageous by going into my house and putting a meal in my fridge, but I certainly did enjoy it. In A Course in Miracles, it says, what you see reflects your thinking, and your thinking but reflects the choice of what you want to see. Wouldn't you like to see more kindness? I know I would. The Course continued to say, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. How cool is that, huh? That's really it, isn't it? I mean, we seek out what we want to see, right? If we feel the world is a terrible place, having terrible situations, well, actually, those terrible situations and terrible places will actually find us to reinforce that belief. Wild, isn't it? By changing our minds about the world and seeing the world is actually reflecting us, then it only makes sense to be the kindness that we would like to see in the world. Then that kindness will indeed seek us out as well. I know. When I say that, I hear my inner ego saying, I know. Now there's something else I have to pay attention to. I have to meditate. I've got to write. I've got to journal. I've got to read. I've got to be nice to people on top of all that. Plus, I've got to think of new ways to be kind to people. Holy smokes. I don't have time for this. I have a very active ego. Oh, my ego also says, I don't have money to give out to everybody as well, right? It's all about giving money, right? Well, then I just kind of reminded myself that I don't really have the time not to do that. I have to do the things that I talk about because that's how the world shifts. So I began brainstorming about ways I could be kind by practicing random acts of kindness and creating senseless beauty. I thought about, well, maybe if I clean off my porch, it will create more senseless beauty in my neighborhood. Well, I have actually 10 ways that I came up with to create random acts of kindness and senseless beauty. 1. When I go through the fast food drive-thru, which I do more than I would want to, but I do, I always tip, and they are so surprised. 2, I thank people for working on Sundays or late at night or on holidays when I go through the checkout line and I have to shop on those days when I don't want to be working. 3, when I see someone struggle with technology, I try my best to offer to help them. Or when I see them struggling with a package or a doorway or car door or something, I try to help them carry whatever it is that they're struggling with. 4, figure out how to sell. This is something I haven't done yet, but I want to. Figure out how to sell something on Craigslist and then help my friend sell what she wants to sell. Or on eBay. How fun would that be? 5, when you pull out a cart at the grocery store, pull out 2 and hand one to the person behind you so they don't have to wrestle with the carts either. 6, when someone is talking to me, listen. Be fully aware, fully present, only focused on what they are saying. That's a tricky one for me, but I'm going to attempt to do that because it's kinder for them. 7, write postcards, greeting cards. Send out a little note to friends that you have that you maybe haven't talked to for a while, or even those that you have. People love to get mail that's not a bill. Or send a care package to someone. How fun could that be to put together a little care package and mail it off? 8, this one's easy. For most people, I think. Well, I don't know. Smile. That's it. Just smile. With people you encounter, smile at them. What I've discovered is it kind of makes them wonder what you've been up to. And they may smile back at you. 9, say thank you and genuinely mean it. In the Channelers Academy, on one of our days in the retreat, we actually write thank you notes to people that have inspired us. And it's a wonderful exercise to write a thank you note to someone that's inspired you. I know it's great. It feels really fun to write that note, and it also feels fun for the person that receives it. Number 10, if you're feeling flush, buy one of those $10 bouquets at the grocery store and give it to somebody that you don't know. How fun would that be? I know. I read an article about the power of doing random acts of kindness. Did you know, this is scientific, that it actually lowers your stress level when you are kinder to people? It actually boosts your immune system. I mean, scientists will test everything. So they tested people that did random acts of kindness or were just simply kind to people, and their immune system went up and they caught less colds over a year's time period of the testing, just by doing nice things for other people. In that same article that I read, it told a story about a woman who was in the parking lot at Target. Or if you're French, it would be Target. She was crying her eyes out because her sister-in-law just passed away. They were great friends, and she was so horribly sad. She decided she needed a little caffeine, and she went into the Target and went to the Starbucks in Target, and the barista was also having a very bad day. One of their machines was broken, and everybody was cranky about standing in line and not being able to get what they wanted. You get the picture, right? When this woman paid for her coffee, she reached out and just patted the barista's hand and said, "That's okay. Hang in there. You're doing a good job. Life will get better." Well, when the woman got back out to her car with her coffee, as she was setting her coffee in the cup holder in her car, she noticed a note scrawled on the cup. I mean, it had her name, Mary, and then it said, "Your soul is golden." How interesting is that? Mary, your soul is golden. Well, Mary, the lady, laughed and cried. I mean, she didn't even know what that meant, but it made her day. Yes, she was still sad about her sister-in-law, but somehow she felt happier. It's really those simple, random acts that make the difference in your life. And of course, they make the difference in others as well. Now, during this month, I would just like to ask you to make your own list, or you can use mine, your own list of random acts that you can do for yourself or others. And then pick some of them and do them. After all, Oprah Winfrey says to extend yourself in kindness to anybody is an extension of kindness in the world. Then the world will be a better place. And isn't that what we're all doing here? right? Helping the world be a better place. So, make your list of random acts, become a kindness volunteer to help the world be a better place. And that is what I'd like you to think about this month. Right now, we're going to become a better place as the master, Randy Luna, is going to play some amazing music that will activate kindness in your heart. And then we'll hear a message from Adironda and see what they have to say with everything. Thank you for listening. Random Acts, that's the deal. Ah, so it is good day to you, huh? Very good to see you, your light, your brightness. It is good day to you, good day to you. They are gone. And so, random acts of kindness, senseless beauty. And yes, it would be good for the vessel Marilyn to clean her porch, to create more beauty in her neighborhood, but that is up to her. As you understand that energy, know that you are the difference in this world. You are the connective point that is coming in. When you think of different random acts, when you think of being kind to someone, sometimes what we have observed with you humans is you ask someone, do you need some help with that? They will almost always, 95% of the time, say no, even though they may need some help. So instead, simply say, here, let me help you with that. And then they will say, oh, thank you. You might even try that at the grocery market. When you see someone loading groceries into the back of their car, that you would help with that, or help take the cart back, or maybe bring them a cart. You see, acts of kindness do not have to be big. They do not have to be bodacious in their energy, and they do not have to cost anything. Those acts of kindness can be so simple. Maybe it is just sweeping off your front porch and offering to sweep off the neighbors, or say, just here, let me help you sweep off the porch here. Or let me help you do such and such and such and such. You see, those acts, let me help you. Instead of asking, because when you ask, what are they going to say? No, I can do it myself. Or at least our vessel Marilyn always does. Until she learned to accept help. And in learning to accept help, we had to get very strong in that energy. Because she was just a bit stubborn in asking for help. We don't want you to be the same. Kindness goes a long way. Did you know that, except for in biblical terms, that the word kindness was never used until the 1300s, as the English-speaking world was coming out of the Dark Ages? Now, don't you find that interesting? And the vessel Marilyn is saying, where in the world did you get that fact? She read it somewhere along the line. What transformed in the world in the 1300s after the death of the Christed One? Kindness was brought in, and it sort of stayed. You see, in that kindness, that is what the Master Yeshua taught. Dearly beloveds, yes, I taught kindness. I taught people that you, are worthy of being kind to yourself and being kind to others. And yet somewhere in the teachings that were misinterpreted. Shortly after I stopped having a human body on this planet, people began judging others for their beliefs in me. They began punishing others. They began terrible acts of violence and senseless cruelty. Yes, it happened before me. That is why I came. That is why the Buddha came. That is why Allah came. That is why Muhammad came. That is why Krishna came. Now, all of those teachers are coming to you, through you, in every act of kindness that you can create. We don't believe that there will be another human form. You've seen what happens to them. Us. Me. So God, Source, is reminding you that kindness is one of your innate abilities, one of your abilities that was born in you. When you see two babies playing, they play perfectly until they see someone take something away from the other. They think, that is mine. And they claim ownership of it. And there the saga begins. I implore you, dearly beloveds, to end that saga of possession, to end that saga of believing that your idea is somehow wrong because it differs from my idea. Instead, turn your religion to kindness. Our divine link, Marilyn, has played a song by Karen Drucker. My religion is kindness. My religion is joy. My religion is love. I ask you, get the song, play it. To remind you of who you are every single day. That can be your random act to live that kindness in everything that you do. I do. I have. I did. And gave the world a chance to better itself. I am now within you. So I ask you to do the same. Toda. 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 Whew. So, there you have it. Gratitude from the Master. That is who you are as well, dearest beings of light. Trust. Trust the kindness that is born within you. We love you deeply. We see you. We know you. We are you. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.